All right. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kakadash. Second, I want to give double honor to the Apostle Jim S. Overflow. Peace, blessings, salutations to the whole free elect out there tuning in. We're to find their members in these last days. And as before, this truth is for you, so-called Negro, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, which makes up the 12 tribes of Israel today. And as a title, Solid Foundation. Let me get this real quick in Wisdom of Solomon. Bear with me one moment. All right, so Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 1. This is in the GNT. As you rulers of the world, set your mind sincerely on the Lord and look for him with honesty. And this is for the hopeful elect, because eventually we know we're going to be rulers of the world through Yahushua. So it says, those who do not try to test him will find him. He will show himself to those who trust him. Dishonest thoughts separate people from Yahweh Yahushua. And if we are foolish enough to test him, his power will put us to shame. So what's going to happen? We understand the powers that be. We understand Esau is in power. He ruleth. And ultimately, if you don't trust in Yahweh Yahushua, it's only two lots in this thing. You're either for Yahweh Yahushua or you're for Esau's kingdom. And this was the kingdom of Esau was already prophesied in Daniel 12, I believe in the second chapter, Revelation 17, 18, and the 13th chapter. So these prophecies was already foretold that America was going to become established in these last days. You know, the Roman Empire fell, and it was going to be rebirthed again. You know, and so if you're, not knowing prophecy, not knowing the times that we're living in, not being circumspect, you just lollygagging, not taking this thing serious. Well, Yahweh got a way of showing his hand. That's why it's very important. We stay locked in and stay focused and bite down. Because you understand, what Esau has out there is his new system that he wants to be set up in order. And we are pretty much enemies of the state. And you will be moved and tried. And things will come up, adversity, trials, and things that, you're going to have to fight through. Demons, the plaguing of the mind, and just different situations. And again, if you're not rooted, if you're not built upon Yahushua prophecy and networking with the men that you labor with, and prayer, and in all sincerity, you're pretty much going to fall away. You're going to, the trials that come forth, you're going to wither away, and that's something that you do not want to fall in. And one of my biggest fears is not completing this journey, this mission. Being in this thing for the little years I've been in, and everybody pretty much that really know me know what I'm into. So yeah, they treat me a certain way. They look at me a certain way. It is what it is. I move a certain way. Certain people can't figure me out, but it is what it is. But all in all, one of my biggest fears is not completing, this truth. I'd rather, have it to my power that I have, the little bit of power that I have. I'm willing to, lay my life down for this truth. Lord's will, it stays like that until the end. And Lord's will, I'll be beamed, or if I have to be put to death for this truth, Lord's will, I'll go all the way through with it in a good spirit. in good hopes. So, continuing on, wisdom would never be at home with anyone who is deceitful or a slave of sin. Because again, remember, as the trials and the temptations is going to go forth and get harder, the tests are going to get harder. If you're not rooted in this thing, you're going to fall for the trials that's going to happen, the wiles of the devil, Esau. Because again, remember, it's a lot of things that's about to come down the pipeline, and Esau setting up that new world order. And as we can see, things are getting harder. People are crashing out more and more and more. People are losing it. Things are not looking too good, and things are just going to get worse. Robbery. I mean, I don't really have to say it all, but you go, you get what I'm saying, where I'm going at. Things are going to get more harder. Continuing on, everyone who is holy has learned to stay away from deceitful people, being circumspect. In the times that we're in, this is not a time to be nice or friendly. Really, in all, that's really stupid to be, because we got to understand this whole world life of wickedness, and everybody is has an ulterior motive. So he would not stay around when foolish thoughts are being expressed. He would not feel comfortable when injustice is done. So hold on, bear with me. Going into this parable right here. So Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. That rock is Yahweh Shah. We understand and we know that he's going to come back. And this is why, as a bridegroom waiting and cleaning ourselves and getting ourselves right for our husband. Salaki, if I'm saying it right, brothers, Salaki, if I'm not saying it right, but you know what I'm saying. Us being a woman and Yahushua being our husband, he's going to return and redeem us. And as women, you want to be chased. So I'm saying it right. As a woman, when you love your husband, you're going to adore yourself in a proper way. You're going to be chaste. You're not going to allow yourself to be penetrated. You're going to keep you're going to purify yourself. Because you want to look good for your husband. And in that sense, pretty much trying to keep ourselves away from becoming dirty and nasty, because this world that we live in now, presently, you can become so very easily. Because one thing Esau does in this society with his wiles, he makes things that's evil look good. So again, if you don't have Yahweh Shah, you will fall for these things. Like for instance, Esau can make being an actual whore look good. And Esau can really make a man with no boundary and no backbone, pretty much a mo, look very good. And it's rewarded, it's esteemed, and it's put on TV, and it's given fame, attention, and the spotlight. So he rewards degenerate behavior. And growing up, seeing that folly, whatever, that can be very enticing. And this is why really Jake has been programmed to pretty much not have a backbone and be weak and play around and be foolish and folly and vanity. And that's why ultimately when Jake hear about this truth, he laughs in scorn. And then he just pretty much just wants to really be accepted by the Edomites. But they don't understand that Esau's foundation that he's trying to give you is shaky. It's not solid. It's of sand. Esau's wisdom of this world is of sand, and it's not foolproof. So it says 25, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And that's going to be us, because the whole time, while people were laughing, scoffing, mocking us, calling us the degenerates, hateful, spiteful, retarded, ugly, it was just whatever, we were staying focused on what's the true the true agenda is. We're going to push those names. We're going to prophesy, and we're going to stay in order. And yes, we have commandments of men. We have orders we have to take. Things we have to do. I mean, and I don't understand how even men get bent out of shape by certain things that's required. Because everything, anywhere you go in this world, you're going to be required of something. If you're a woman, it's going to be required you do something. If you're a man, you're going to be required to do something. You go to your job, whatever it is, you're going to be required, unless you want to, I guess, stand in the middle of the median and beg for money, I guess. But I mean, it is what it is. Anywhere you go in this world, you're going to be required of something. You're not just going to pitch a tent and just do drugs or whatever. Even then, something's going to be required. Something's going to be required. So you might as well do something that's right. You might as well be on the same on something sure that is going to be a recompense for. And we ultimately know Yahweh himself made a covenant between himself and swore by himself. That he's going to give us the earth rulership, going back to the promises and the covenant that he gave to our forefather Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So continuing on, 26, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened to a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. That's 2/3 that do what? They really believe the ways of the so-called white man, this infrastructure, this system. Esau makes things look real good, very enticing. I'm not going to. Hey, Elder Prashad says it all the time. The world is very strong. But Esau presents this motherfucker with his pseudoscience, his technologies, as if that as if it's better than the Most High himself. Because ultimately he wants to replace Yahweh Bashem Shah and have you believe that he's the one, he's the power, he calls the shots, he's the man in power. He pretty much has made everybody pretty much not believe in a higher power, but pretty much through pseudoscience and technology, he bamboozles your mindset and really just got you really like an atheist, not believing in a higher power, really just believing in the system, which ultimately you taking heed to this man's system, you're honoring and you're really making it set out that this so-called white man is the God, is a God. But he isn't, he's a loser. And all in all, this pseudo and this technology and this infrastructure is geared to really just destroy your mind and bug you out. The beloved Elder Yashimamba did a lesson yesterday, which talks about Shlaki, you do so many videos. The forbidden fruit. It goes something like that, But all in all, this system, is geared to destroy you and have you thinking, the foundation that you're on is on the right path. But in all, it's gonna get you destroyed. So it says, verse 27, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and it beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And we ultimately know that America is going to be destroyed. But when the wrath and the anger of the Lord comes upon this place, because you got to remember, when you go to Sirach, the 40th chapter, talks about the how the Lord got certain things set up for the wicked. So again, let me get this real quick. 2 Corinthians 4:8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed, and that's going to the ones that we have built our foundation with Yahweh Shah. Yet not distressed, we are perplexed but not in despair, persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed. And through Yahweh Shah, we shall not be removed or be not moved. Let me see this. I'm gonna jump up to 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Yahweh Bashem Shah and not of us. So again, we understand this is not of us, this is of Yahweh Bashem Shah. And the Lord said he's going to keep a remnant around so he can glorify himself in us. So it says, always bearing about in the body of the dying of our Lord Hamashiach Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake, that the life of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So you see that? So the trials and adversity, through it, we're not moved. Why? Because we're on we have a solid foundation. And best believe there's going to be coming perils and coming trials that's going to be very hard, very mental, intriguing. But through Yahushua, we will prevail. Let me go back. So let me see. 1 Peter 5:10. But the power of all grace, who have called us into his eternal glory by Hamashiach Yahushua, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. So everything we go through in this time period is really to strengthen us for what's to come. So we won't be moved or tried, Salaki, moved or not at ease. Let me see. Let me see what this says. No, not that one. Let me see. Verse 2 Chronicles 15:7. Be ye strong, therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. See that? So, again, courage. Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that's good and acceptable and perfect, the will of Yahweh and Yahushua. Let me see. Because again, going into Revelation 21, we know for certain Yahushua is going to come back and give us the kingdom, which was promised, Revelation 21:4, and this is what we remember. And Yahweh shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And we understand through Yahushua that's going to happen. And that was, as Yahushua being our sacrificial lamb, that pretty much signified the fact that, we won. We did not lose, even though it seemed like we lost, or our back is on the wall. But we still have, hey, we won. We got it. So, 1 Peter 4:12-13, beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoicing as much as ye are partakers of Yahushua's suffering. So you gotta understand, just like the apostles were joyful that they was found worthy to suffer. And we got to remember those things, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. See that? But the only way we're going to see this and be able to really fully understand what's really going on, we got to have that solid foundation, So, again, not being easily moved, intrigued by the wiles of the devil, and it's just different shit that happens amongst these niggas that call themselves Israelites. There's a lot of niggas out here that know that they're Israelites. A lot of this wickedness going on. But again, you gotta do prayer, fast, networking with brothers, a true family, which are the other men that labor with you and do the same thing as you. You just gotta bite down. You gotta stay focused. Stay in the loop. Because again, one thing Satan likes to does as well, that lone wolf shit. He tries to get you away, because once you're away, you can easily be enticed. He plays off your anger, he plays off your doubt, plays off a lot of things. Ego, whatever. Being vengeful, being envious, Satan can play off that, man. And now here it is. You're by yourself and you're thinking it's the right thing, but all in all, you fell for the trick. But I'm going to wrap this thing up. Those who was edified with that, shalom.